Dave here, how are you? I'm sitting in front of an AllPowers 600 watt portable solar panel and a 400 watt from AllPowers as well. Now these two panels have MC4 connectors on them, and I can, as a matter of fact, hook them up together in series, not in parallel, but in series, to be able to feed the R2500. The R2500 will take a maximum of 1000 watts at up to 150 volts. So let's do some sums. Watts equals amps times volts. So therefore, amps, and we need to know these things, equals watts divided by volts. The other important thing to realize that when you hook up panels in series, it's not just a matter of everything doubles up. The amps will go to the lowest denominator. In other words, this panel here is 13.63 amps. This panel here, the 400, is 10.6 amps. So now my calculations, because I've hooked these up in series, the lowest ampage panel will be the governing factor. So we will have 10.6 amps. 10.6 amps volts equals watts divided by amps. So we have a set amount of volts coming through here. We have, I'll go back to the calculator, we have 37.4 volts, 37.4, plus you add the voltages together when you're doing a series, plus 44 equals 81.4 volts. We have 81.4 volts, and we know the amps is 10.6, which is our lowest. So then to find out the watts, we go back up to the top here and we see watts equals amps times volts. So we multiply those two together, and that's how many watts we're going to be pushing in there. Maximum that these panels will generate together. Let's work that one out. 81.4 times 10.6 equals 862.84 watts maximum from this setup. Now that is well within our 1000 watt ceiling. So this is really good. And I think we've gone very close to that maximum. I think we got up to around 840 watts. These panels are super efficient. Now the other factor here is that these are made to be light. So these ones aren't very heavy, even though they do have a massive IP rating. No dust can get into these, and water sprayed in at all angles, water jet sprayed in all angles will not penetrate. They can stay out in the weather, they're fine. So this is 6 individual 100 watt panels that are all hooked up, I'm guessing in series, to keep the amps down. Very, very clever. It's nice and light. This one is actually lighter than the 400 watt because it doesn't have to be self-supportive. These are designed to lie on the ground or to lie on a roof of some sort. I'm going to show you some footage of setting this up in a really clever way, even though I do say so myself. I've used a couple of blow tables. These are things you can get from local camping stores. They're a plastic top with fold-out legs, and these ones are 5 feet long. You could get 6 feet, which is 1.8 meters. And I've made little extenders for them because we use these tables at markets. We like to elevate them up a little bit higher so you're not leaning over. So I've just used some high-pressure PVC pipe with some legs and an infill inside. Slide them on to one end of the legs only and open it up, prop it up, and I've found that to be a pretty good angle. Even though these panels are facing downhill a little bit, they're still generating a lot of power. I have them leant against the tables here because for 2 reasons. They're kept cool. There's plenty of room underneath for air to circulate around them. And a good thing about solar panels being elevated like that, if you keep them cool, they're more efficient. The hotter they get, the less efficient they're going to be. So this is great. I did have them lying on top of the car bonnet and up the windscreen, which would be fine. But the thing is, after a while with the heat, they started to actually take the shape of the bonnet, and I tried to fold them all up and they didn't want to go. So like this on a flat surface, or I could have them on a flat surface for the bottom section. The top 3 panels, I could have them leaning, hooked with, they come with carabiners and little lugs on the top. I could have them hooked onto the back of camp chairs, so I could have the camp chairs facing away from the sun and have those panels behind me facing towards the sun. And the other good thing about the panels being up like this is that it keeps the R2500 cool. It's under there in shade, no extension cables needed, none at all. It's doing just fine. It's punching that 862 watts in via an XT60 connection into the R2500. Well worthwhile having a look at if you're camping. Not very heavy. A lot of solar power comes out from it. Oh, well, a lot of electricity is generated by this particular panel. This is my favorite. I have had it hanging from a wall. Yeah, you could put screws in a wall and then just hang it up. It's 2 people job because, you know, it's hanging around all over the place. You want to get it up quickly. 1 person at either end, hook it up on the hangers, and away you go. That'll work. It'll probably work better the further away from the equator you get, and the more towards the middle of winter, the solstice in the middle of winter, because the sun's traveling at a very low point over the horizon. And I'll put some links in the video description down the bottom if you want to get some, or if you want to get the R2500. I'm very impressed with the whole setup. I didn't think I'd like AllPowers because I'd never heard of them before, you know, but they say better the devil you know than the one you don't. Well, I was kind of using that, and then I decided, let's give them a go, see what happens. And I'm super impressed. I'm doing a series of videos on AllPowers. There's 4 videos in it. The first one was a quick overview and unboxing of the R2500. This is the second video about the panels, and also some special tips about it. The third video will be about the R2500 running things. I'm going to run some of my machines. I'm going to run a fridge. I may even get the welder out and plug it in and see if it'll run that. So it's very exciting days we're in. And also remember, these are lithium iron phosphate batteries that AllPowers are using in their solar generators. 3,500 cycles, 80% power capacity after those 3,500 cycles. Now that's 1 full charge and discharge per day, every day of the week for 10 years. You can't ask for much more than that. And then you don't scrap the thing, you just keep it. And it will keep on working. It's just that its retention of power will slowly drop a bit more and a bit more over time. But it's not going to go, bang, I'm dead. That seems to be the mentality these days. People are thinking these lithium iron phosphate batteries are the same as conventional lithium iron batteries. They're not. These things will last and last and last. Anyway, I'm talking too much. See you later.